And thank you so much for coming out midweek and seeing us all play. And thank you, folks, for putting it on tonight. Thank you, Mike, for the sound.
Thank you for coming.
I'm grateful to be here.
I used a sick day. Keep going.
Okay. Well, this is kind of a sad story, but it's more paying respect to someone I need to pay respect to, because one of my biggest influences and mentors of mine passed away a few weeks back, and he was a giant in the Texas music scene, and also one of the most gracious human beings. Taught me a lot about music, and taught me a lot about being a musician, and that you didn't need to be an asshole to be one, and that you could be cool. And he basically was the guy that hipped everybody in Texas to what was happening. I mean, he was the one that got Jimmy Vaughn on his path, and he's the one that got Stevie on his path, and Keith on his path, and all the guys that everybody looks at and goes, how'd those guys get to be so cool? It all goes back to Doyle Bramhall. And
He passed away.
and the funny thing is, you know, he was so cool, and he did all this shit. I mean, opened up with Jimi Hendrix when he was a kid, and you know, hung out with everybody, was at the epicenter of everything. But as a kid, when we were coming up, 18, 19 years old and just starting to play, you could talk to him like he was someone your age. And I used to get to hang out with him a ton when I very first started. He had just moved back to town. He had just gotten sober. That was because he'd been a pretty serious junkie when he was young, and he was really, really trying his best to make the world a better place, and he touched a lot of people, definitely myself included. And then when I go through different periods of my career, Doyle always understood. He always got where I was coming from, and he always understood, even when what I was doing wasn't maybe the best thing I'd ever done. He got the fact that you had to do it to get to the next thing, because he'd been there. And he was just one of the most gracious human beings that I've ever met, and a motherfucker of a musician. And he passed away too young, a few weeks back, you know. So I just, I've been thinking about it a ton. And I used to play this song with him when I very first started playing, when I was just, barely playing. And because actually one of the highlights of my life was playing this one with him and John Lee at the same time at Antone's. So this is a John Lee Hooker song that Big Doyle taught me.